I'm Reinhard Möller from the ICC, IEEE ICC International Conference on Consumer Electronics. I'm the chair of 2013, and I have the honor at my side to sending Joe Decuir, distinguished lecturer of the ICC of the IEEE Consumer Electronics Society. And Joe has given an interesting talk today about the future of consumer electronics interfaces, and so I'd like to ask him some questions about that. And my first question to you, Joe, is what was the most important invention of the last decade in human device interfaces?
I don't know the right answer to that question. I have a few speculations. One speculation is the microprocessor revolution allowed us to bring intelligence close to you, into your house, instead of being off in the network. The second invention, well, inventions that are happening now are the networking of things, so the devices can individually be aware, and then perhaps, God help us, communicate with each other. A special instance of that is Siri and other things like that that allow you to use intelligence not only in the device in your hand, but that's somewhere else, and send it back and forth.
Well, this implies the question, how will we humans benefit from intelligent environments? I mean, there is some device that is talking with me. There is a device that can control me. So how much control can we give to the automatics?
I have to say, Skynet is not yet here. Do you recognize the reference? The Terminator?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay, Skynet is not yet here, but if Skynet wants to instrument us, the facilities are in our hands. Our cell phones can hear what's happening around us. They might turn on their cameras. They might be streaming stuff up when we don't yet know it. How can it benefit us? Well, I'll pick an example. In the Bluetooth Low Energy group where I work now for a living, we already have a standard for how to do blood glucose measurement. We're building another one that allows you to control the injection of insulin. That combination of things is a medical benefit because it means that something automatic is managing your blood glucose for you, which is much more convenient than having a doctor follow you around, make measurements, and tell you how much insulin to inject. So that's a medical benefit. Another one that I think of, I have very old parents, and I would like them to be able to live at home longer than they might otherwise. And if I can surround them with health and fitness devices that allow them to stay at home longer, the consequences for the economy are in tens of billions of dollars. I'd like to do that. My actual father is nervous about these things because he says, well, I don't think I want them to know all those things.
Absolutely. This is the thing I would have asked you afterwards, because I know the same. If you're intending to make people live in an assisted environment, it might happen that they are not very happy with that because, well, they feel controlled and they feel not comfortable. Talking about assisted living, there is an implication for the old people or the people that are disabled. They can have and benefit from the help, I agree, but on the other hand, they maybe lose privacy, and also they maybe can get rid with the technique that is around them. So how can they manage this?
Well, first of all, let's talk about a benefit. My father has type 2 diabetes, and he manages it medically, but he needs to take pills, and he needs to make blood glucose measurements. A system such as we are foreseeing that can measure blood glucose and then control insulin injection is, for just him alone, a major benefit. Second of all, if I'm his son and I want to keep track of how my father's doing, controlling the access to the information to his healthcare providers or to his concerned children, that's a benefit to him. If somebody else got hold of that information, not so good. In the United States, there's a law called HIPAA, and it ferociously protects all medical information. And in fact, it applies to the healthcare related things that the Bluetooth SIG does. We assume that you have to have full security turned on. You can't run it without full security. I don't know how we prevent unauthorized people from getting used to this, get access to this, but it keeps me awake sometimes.
Absolutely, yeah. This is a privacy issue. On the other hand, you also would say, well, if I think of my grandparents or parents, they are sitting at home and they will benefit from life, from real people caring for them. So I think it's a little bit difficult to understand how it will work if just the television is speaking with them, or the mirror, or something.
Which is what we're selling here.
Absolutely,
yes.
Right.
Yes, we had a very nice thing about, letting the television follow you around, but the television, you see, makes you want to stay in one place. We don't do yet video games that involve you not only jumping around in your living room, but actually going out and being in the real world. Now, I would like that little Fitbit thing that I have on me. I'd like my father to wear one of those, so I could tell if he's being too sedentary too often. What my response to that will be to drive over and say, "Dad, let's go for a walk." Absolutely. Not go watch this piece of television.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Good argument. Okay, so where does it go with the audio interfaces, especially? You talked about Siri and so on. So computers talking with me, devices talking with me.
Yeah, Siri is not very smart, despite the fact that it has very large numbers of servers behind it. I do notice that it can kind of recognize speech, which means you can involve speech to control things, right. Either having the thing talk back to you, or if you trust it, to control the things that you're talking to. Example, people are looking at ways to use this for remote control in cars right now as we speak.
Small vocabulary.
And part of it is the small vocabulary. Maybe it doesn't do so well with Scottish. You can either in the car intelligence itself or up to the cloud and back figure out what's being asked for and affect the car. Problem with the car, of course, is there are simple things like, do I want the air conditioning to be warm or cold? If it's wrong, I can fix it and it's not killer. If I tell the car to accelerate or decelerate and that's not safe, then you make work for emergency room technicians and doctors if you survive.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's just audio, because we can do interesting and scary things with video as well. I mean, the Kinect is an example of something that looks at you and figures out what condition you're in. And from that, it can figure out where you're talking from and then focus its microphone array on your mouth so it knows to listen to you. That doesn't tell you what it does with that information, but it knows to go out and look. What happens when those things are processing facial recognition and trying to deduce things from your position and what you're going to do? I don't want the cops to have something like that deciding whether I'm attacking them or not, because they might decide to shoot first and ask questions later. Right.
Well, you're talking about visual control, you're talking about mood control and sensory and so on. When I'm thinking about human interaction, then we have many more modalities. So my interest is, wouldn't we have in near future maybe many more opportunities, starting with haptics, starting with, for example, smell or taste? Can you comment on that?
I don't know how we can do taste or smell yet. It means we have to have things that can sense tastes, colors, molecular shapes, and produce results, but don't get saturated by the stuff that they touch. Somehow our nasal membranes and tongue cleans themselves. Haptics is really powerful right now. Nintendo has been running away with it. Lots of people, big conference here today on haptics. That's not going away soon. You've noticed a lot of them, the handheld video games now have all that stuff in them. And that little Fitbit thing.
Right.
It's haptic. That means it knows when I've been sitting around. It knows when I've been taking a nap. It knows when I've been walking and climbing stairs. providing me, useful feedback. Where would I think the frontier is? I think the frontier is figuring out how to recognize patterns and do useful intelligence on what's being presented.
Absolutely, that's right, yeah. And this is also closing the circle to the ambient assisted living again, looking for shapes and so on.
Well, I think about that a lot because I have a whole bunch of parents, although I confess I'm going to my mother's funeral on Saturday. So I still have 3 more.
Okay, Joe, thanks very much, first of all. Maybe some remarks about the conference so far?
This was my first time at the conference. I loved it. To pick the high point for me, it was Mary's keynote 2 days ago on effective computing. I would wish that I wasn't busy getting this keynote ready, or I would have gone into the conference on haptics, because I think that's a major frontier right now. There have been poster sessions and other sessions on home networking, and I missed those because I had to be at CES on Friday, and I looked at the schedule and I thought, oh, I missed it. Oh, I should have been here. Oh, I should have been here. So I have more stuff to read, I suppose.
Okay, so come next time, and we're looking forward to see you then. Thanks very much, Joe.
You're welcome. Auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen.